Hey guys, it's Will and I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to do a series of videos that I'm going to call the Don't Bite the Hand That Feeds You series. And the first one I'm going to do today is going to be about farmers. Now I wanted to do this video for the farm, but I've got to be honest with you. Ragweed is at an all-time high in Southwest Missouri and it's got me by the tail and it just won't let go. So I decided to do it here in the office with this conditioned air, as we say, in the hopes that I could get through it without having a coughing and sneezing fit. Let's start by talking about the impact that the Trump administration had on farming and ranching in the United States. And there's a really simple answer. It was devastating. Shortly out of the gate after Trump took office, he implemented the tariffs on China that devastated the agricultural industry here in the United States of America. Just to give you an example, in 2017, China imported $19.5 billion in agricultural goods from the United States of America, and that made them the second largest buyer of American agricultural products. But just 1 year later, in 2018, that number dropped all the way down to $9.2 billion, a drop of about $10 billion as a direct result of the trade war caused by Trump's tariffs. And while all row crop farmers felt the effects of this, it was soybean farmers that took the brunt of this war result. Soybean exports to China dropped 75% just from September of 2018 to May of 2019. The economic impact was so bad that the Trump administration had to roll out a $16 billion federal aid package for farmers. And even that aid package was politicized. There were 2,300 counties that voted for Trump and they received the majority of the money in agricultural aid. And it was so politicized, guys, and I want you Republican farmers and ranchers to listen to this. It was so politicized that if you lived in a rural county that had switched from Barack Obama in 2012 to Donald Trump in 2016, you got more money under that program than a county that had voted Republican in both of those cycles. And Trump administration policies were tough on the cattle industry as well. There were two major policies that hurt the cattle industry. The first one being that the Trump administration opposed country of origin labeling. What does that mean? It means that farmers and ranchers in the United States of America want to be able to label their products as being raised and processed here in the United States. So that when you go to the store and you're buying fruits and vegetables, more importantly, when you're buying beef, that hamburger, steak, and roast that keep America rolling every day, they want you to be able to look on that packaging at the grocery store and be able to tell that that beef and that those agricultural products were raised right here in the United States of America. When we're able to do that, Americans, being the patriotic people that they are more likely to buy American agricultural products than foreign ones. And because of the lobbying of corporate agriculture, the Trump administration denied that request on behalf of American farmers and ranchers. Now, when you go to the store, you may or may not know who you're buying your beef and your agricultural products from or what country they're coming from. The other policy of the Trump administration that severely hurt the beef industry was their decision to open up American markets again to massive amounts of Brazilian beef. This policy flooded our markets with beef, and while it was really good for the packers and for the grocery stores, it was really, really harmful to American farmers and ranchers. And you can rest assured that when the American grocery market is impacted by bad policy, the livelihood, the financial well-being, and the mental well-being of farmers and ranchers is going to be impacted as well. In 2019, farm income under Trump fell into the bottom 25% for the last 90 years, adjusted to inflation. Delinquency rates on loans climbed to an all-time high, and even Farm Aid saw a 30% increase in the number of calls coming in from farmers and ranchers for assistance due to the bad policies of the Trump administration. And even more sad is that the National Farmers Union saw a significant increase in the number of farmer and rancher self-unalivings during the Trump administration due to financial issues and the stress on their mental well-being and health. Those of you that have been in farming and ranching for quite a while or fall into my age group, and I'm 56, remember a similar period back in the 1980s when farm bankruptcies and farm agricultural pricing problems caused a significant increase in the number of farmer unalivings and losses of family farms across our country. The litmus test for how well farms are doing is usually driven by what farm subsidies look like. So I'm going to show you two sides that will explain why Democrats are better for farmers and ranchers than Republicans. This slide shows direct payments to farms, or the number of subsidies that have been paid out to American farmers in the first 3 years of each administration for Trump and Biden. If you look at year one of the Trump administration, $14 billion in subsidies were paid out. In year two, $16 billion. But take a look at year three. In year three, that number increased by $10 billion due to the economic impact of Trump's trade war with China. That trickled into the first year of the Biden administration, where the Biden administration had to pay out $28 billion plus in farm subsidies to continue to keep American farmers and ranchers in business. But then look what happens in year two and year three of the Biden administration. Because farm income increased drastically during those years, subsidies were able to drop from $28 billion in Biden's first year to $16 billion in his second year and $12 billion in his third year. And take a look at this slide, guys. This slide says it all. This slide shows net farm income in the first 3 years of each administration. And look how steady it stayed under the Trump administration. There was almost no growth at all. In year one, it was $91 billion. In year two, it was $97 billion. And then in year three, it dropped down to $93 billion. But look what the Biden administration was able to do for farmers and ranchers. In year one, farmer income, net income, climbed from $93 billion to $155 billion. In year two, it climbed all the way up to $188 billion. And in year three, it was sitting at $151 billion when this study was completed. These numbers all come from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, where farming income has been tracked for decades. Now, I'm speaking directly to my fellow farmers and ranchers when I make the following comment. Guys, it's time to understand that the reason we voted Republican in the past years is not because Republicans are good for agriculture, but because they've convinced us we need to vote for them because of the cultural wars. All of the things that fall outside of the realm of agriculture and fall outside of the realm of what's beneficial for us as farmers and ranchers. And it's time for that to stop. The truth is, all the major studies have shown is that if we have to undergo another round of significant international tariffs, we're not going to be able to survive it. There are going to be hundreds and thousands of farms and ranches that go out of business and get bought up by large corporate interests who can weather any storm. And it's not just the fact that the data shows that the Democrats have been there for us during difficult times. It's not just the fact that net farm income over the past couple of decades has been higher under Democratic presidents than Republican presidents. It's the fact that the Democrats are doing more to help us change our markets to be more competitive going into the future. The Biden administration has spent billions of dollars to help farmers and ranchers upgrade to new and better systems of farming and ranching. That includes agroforestry, where we can do silvopasturing and raise new crops while raising the same cattle and the same row crops that we have in the past. The Democratic Party and the Biden administration have also invested billions of dollars in coming up with alternative markets and alternative ways of processing beef and agricultural products to get those products to the marketplace. So when I talk about biting the hand that feeds you, I'm talking to you, my fellow farmers and ranchers. It's time for us to put aside these silly culture wars that have caused us to vote against our best interest for decades now, and to start embracing these new policies that are going to lead American farming and ranching into the future. Now, I know Donald Trump talks a good game when it comes to American farming and ranching, but I want you to do me a favor. I'm from Missouri, and we've got a great humorist by the name of Mark Twain that said a lot of really smart things over the years. And I want you to remember these words from Mark Twain. There's nothing in the world like persuasive speech to fuddle the mental apparatus. And when it comes to Donald Trump, nothing is more true. Everybody have a great day.